All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we are for another episode of Cliff's Notes. Today, we're going to mix artificial and real intelligence, and you're going to find out what you get. His name is Phil Stringer. He's coming up next, our subject matter expert on artificial intelligence himself, live in the studio from Lincoln Center on Cliff's Notes. Real estate agents, are you struggling with the day-to-day grind, dialing for dollars, putting in hours of floor time with little to show for it? Are you looking for tips, tricks, and tactics to accelerate your career as an agent that will have you closing more homes, working with more clients, and earning more money than ever before? Hi, my name's Cliff Freeman, and I've spent the past 2 decades of my real estate career running one of the top brokerages in DFW and personally coaching over 1,000 high-performing real estate professionals across North America. I created this podcast to share the strategies and tactics you need to explode your real estate business. I guarantee it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is a special day here in Dallas, Texas. You're going to meet somebody that's going to blow your mind, and he is probably familiar to some of you if you're a fan of a little show called The Voice, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But without further ado, C3, can we introduce our good friend? Bring him on, Phil Stringer, all the way from, did you fly in from Greensboro?
Greensboro, North Carolina.
Greensboro,
Absolutely.
North Carolina.
Yeah.
My goodness. Well, we are so excited to have you here, not only for the show, but he's going to stick around and do a training for our team on artificial intelligence. Wow, that's like, I mean, you hear that word and you don't quite know what to expect, huh? It's a pretty big buzzword, yeah.
But I've got to be with you guys all day, basically.
Well, yeah, this will turn into artificial intelligence by the end of the day, I would imagine. But Phil, it's great to see you again. We first made your acquaintance back, I guess it was Christmas of this past year.
Yep.
And you were a guest at our Christmas party at the Cowboys Club. Had a great time, and you serenaded us with a song or two, which was really awesome. And you're actually not here just to. I mean, you don't just do artificial intelligence training, but you've got a variety of things that you're involved with, including real estate. Tell us a little bit about your real estate ventures. What are you up to?
Yeah, so I'm the chief operating officer at a mega team brokerage, Jason Bramlett Real Estate in Greensboro, North Carolina. Mm-hmm. And that's where I got started in real estate. So I've always liked business. I've always liked sales. I've done really well in sales in my lifetime, but I never translated that to real estate. And Jason was just a person in my life who's always been there for me. He's always kind of helped me, through business and whatnot. And he said, look, you would be really, really good in real estate. And so a couple years ago, I said, hey, look, does that offer still stand? Because he had tried to hire me several years before. And he said, yeah, he said, I really need a chief operating officer. He said, I would love to have you on board. And so that's kind of where it started in real estate for me, was translating my sales background into real estate. So when I started sales, I was 18, and I started with General Electric. So my brother-in-law at the time, he was working at General Electric, GE Money in the finance division. And he had some connections, and he said, look, if you're interested, I can get you in kind of on an entry-level type position. And at 18, I worked my way to the sales team, and I had no idea what to expect, because you either love sales or you hate it, right? I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be good. I don't know how this is going to work. And I did so well so quickly that I thought, well, this isn't hard. I really like this. Within my first year of joining the sales team, I made #1 agent in the world at GE. And I thought, man, this is really neat. I love this. But I also had a passion for music. So business, music, sales, kind of all mushed together. And it's been an interesting ride ever since then.
So at GE, that's a big corporation, lots of products. What kind of things were you selling there?
Yeah, so I was with the Lowe's home improvement division. They actually finance the credit cards for Lowe's. And so I worked in that division, and we sold insurance and different products within the credit industry. And they had teams worldwide, and we had competitions, and I'm so competitive that I was like, I'm not going to let anyone from any other country beat me.
Oh my gosh! Wow. Well, that's and what a great training program I'm sure they
Fantastic.
had. Yeah.
It was fantastic.
Do you remember? Did you guys ever use a book called Question-Based Selling? Did
No,
that ever
I don't think we did.
didn't cross your path? Okay, I know at IBM that was a big part of the training program there. So you were at GE for how long then?
I was there for a couple of years.
Couple of years.
I was there for a couple of years, and then I ended up going to college after that. So I started that entry-level job kind of transitioning between high school and college.
Mm-hmm.
And I did so well so quickly that I ended up not going to college the next couple of years, And I thought, okay, I need to go to college. I need to actually get a degree. And so I backed out of that position. I had a chance to go into sales management because I did so well in sales. They're like, would you be interested in a management position? But it would have required me to move to Charlotte. And at the time, I mean, I'm 18, 19 years old, and I thought, I'm not going to move. I'm just going to stay home. And then I went to school after that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Where was home for you?
So home at that point was Greensboro. So Charlotte would have been an hour and a half, and it doesn't seem like far, but I think being an 18-year-old kid and being used to being at home with all of your friends from high school, it felt like I would have had to move to Charlotte, and I would have been completely alone. And it was kind of, maybe I shouldn't do that at the time.
And so the music part, when did you discover this musical talent?
It's I've got 3 older sisters, and all of them are very talented at music as well. And so when we were kids, we would joke around and say, hey, we should start a band, being the 4 kids, and we'll, Phil, you can play the drums, and, the sisters would play other instruments and sing and whatnot. So we actually did that just for fun and played around, sang a lot, wrote a lot of songs, but it ended up being something where it was a way to express ourselves, and that was kind of our way of, even going through difficult times. A lot of people have different ways of processing different things. And so for me, if I went through a hard time, I would write about it, and I would turn it into a song. Or I would write my prayers, or I would write poems, and then I would turn those into song. And so that's kind of where it started, was very early on as a kid, and it just kind of developed from there. Singing in church was huge for me. Yeah, I sang in church for a long time.
Were you on the worship team or?
Yeah. So I started playing drums. Drums was my thing. I didn't even consider singing because I was like, man, drums is my instrument. And then I was in the youth band, and I graduated. I got to 17, and I graduated, and there was a kid coming up who was like 13 or 14 years old, and he had a lot of potential on the drums. And so I told the youth pastor, I said, man, I'm going to step back. I'm going to step down and let this kid, develop his talents. And the youth pastor was like, okay, yeah, that's a great idea. So I guess you're going to be leading now. And I was like, what? And he was like, well, why don't you just lead it? And I was like, well, I don't sing. And he was like, no, you're going to sing now. So he kind of forced me into that position. And I was a worship leader for, probably 13 years after that. Led worship obviously for the youth, but then went to leading worship for our whole church after that. Yeah.
And how big was your church?
We probably averaged about 1,200 on a Sunday. Yeah,
okay.
So decent size for North Carolina. I know Dallas. You guys have all these mega churches here.
Well, we have Six Flags Under Jesus. And,
right.
Preston World. Yeah.
Yeah, Preston World.
Yeah. I think we had 27,000 members there.
Crazy.
Yeah. Sanctuary held like 9.
So a friend of mine, I don't know if he's still the worship leader there at Prestonwood, but Michael Neal was the worship friend of ours at our church, and he ended up accepting a position at Prestonwood. I think he's still there as their main worship pastor. But
nice.
Love the people over there at Prestonwood.
Yes,
good people.
Yes, Dr. Graham and bless his heart, Zig Ziglar when he was alive.
Absolutely.
Yeah, what a great place. So somehow or another, I still want to try to weave into this. You said a mesh of music and sales and everything else. Is that how you would describe the way you run the team? Give us a little, unpack that for us. Give us a look under the hood here.
Yeah, so I'm very analytical. I'm very structured. I like to organize my day, and so in business, I feel like I've always really tried to succeed and achieve by just putting in the hard work. I'm not afraid of hard work. I will sit down and I'll grind until midnight if I have to, right? And so I'm just one of those personalities where it's like, I cannot fail. I don't want to fail, and I'll do anything that I can do to try and succeed. And so I think it's probably part of my personality, but part of the way that I was raised as well. Just, hey, look, you don't quit, right? Mm-hmm. And so I've always succeeded in business and I've done well, and sales just came naturally to me as a teenager. And then when I joined GE, I found out that, okay, maybe I should pursue sales. But I never considered real estate as a portion of sales. And Jason Bramlett was definitely the one who brought that out of me.
And you met Jason how?
Through church.
Through church.
So the
okay.
church that I
Awesome.
sang at, he was on the board.
Okay.
And so I've known him since I was a teenager. And I worked in sales at another organization after college, did really, really well in that. And Jason saw what I did at GE. He saw what I did at the next organization that I worked for. And he has tried to hire me into his organization for several years. And finally, the timing just worked out to where I was looking for a change. And it was right after COVID. And I said, look, if the offer still stands, let's see what we can do.
Yeah. Well, you definitely have a penchant for getting noticed. Yeah. I would say you're a SME. You're all over social media. Do a great job there. Was it just kind of a natural thing as soon as artificial intelligence got to be to the point where it was accessible to the general public? What got you really fired up about AI?
You know, it really started hitting big about 6 to 8 months ago. Mm-hmm. I think ChatGPT being so widely available to people and it being free, it kind of opened up a lot of people's eyes to, okay, AI is here and it's probably not going away, and there's a lot of things you can do with it, right? And so for me, being in the real estate world, initially my first thought is, well, how can we use this for real estate, right? And how can I use this not just to create a Facebook post or create a listing description? That's great. It'll save you time to do that. But how can we use it in ways that no other real estate agents or firms are using it to generate leads, to increase productivity and 10x what your output is? And so I essentially created, just as a hobby, as if I needed one, I created a pack of prompts that you could copy and paste into ChatGPT for real estate specifically. And I created over 500 of them. And I literally just sat down every night and I would work on creating prompts, the best way to ask ChatGPT to get really good results for real estate. And so when I did that, I gave that to a few agents, I gave it to our team, and the agents who utilized it were blown away. They're like, this is saving us so much time. We're able to, work so much smarter. People got leads that they didn't think that they would get because they had time to follow up with leads. I had a guy get a $1.5 million listing just from using the prompts. And the guy was so impressed that the agent cared enough about artificial intelligence. He was like, you're the guy. You're the guy because you're using these tools, you're the guy. And so I saw that it was making a difference because, as you know, there's so many real estate agents. How do we differentiate ourselves? What's our value proposition? How do we separate ourselves in the market? Well, majority of real estate agents aren't using AI, or they're not using it the right way. So if I can teach people how to use it and use it the right way, they're automatically going to separate themselves from the rest of the agents, and they'll be able to stand out.
So you heard when we ran the intro, this show is about the tips, tricks, and tactics that we like to share to help agents explode their business. Now, I'm not going to ask you to give away your treasure chest, but the audience is out there. It's like Pavlov's dog, right? You've got them salivating now a little bit. Can you share with us, like, maybe what are some of those prompts, a couple of those prompts that you recommend, or
for sure,
or give us some tips?
So there's so many. I have a 12-week academy, and we go through, here's how you use all of this stuff to grow your real estate business. But to give you some really good nuggets, what I hear, limitations of ChatGPT is that it's only trained on data up until September of 2021. And that's an issue for real estate agents, because then you can't create content based on the current market. You can't create content based on current mortgage interest rates, because ChatGPT only is trained through September of 2021.
I didn't know that. Did you know that, C3?
Yeah. So if you were to ask it, let's say you go into ChatGPT and you say, who won the Super Bowl in 2022? It's going to say, I'm sorry, I've only been trained until September of 2021.
Really?
If you ask it a market-specific question, it will give you an answer, but what you don't know is that the answer is September of 2021. So it's going to talk about crazy bidding wars and, low interest rates and all of this stuff that's not real right now. And so real estate agents have really basically just given up on doing any type of ChatGPT content that requires current data. They'll use it for generic Facebook posts, whatever they want to use it for, property descriptions. But there are two ways around it. And there's a way around it using the free version of ChatGPT to where you don't have to pay anything. But then there's also a way around it using the paid version of ChatGPT, which, if you don't know, there's a free and paid version. The paid version's $20 a month, but it allows you to have third-party plugins. So for an example, Zillow had a plugin where you could type in, find me a home, this is my budget, in this area, this is what I want, and it would list out for you using ChatGPT all the different listings. I booked my flight here on ChatGPT because Kayak has a plugin, right? So there is an extension, and for those of you who are wanting to write this down, you'll need to write this down, but for the free version, there's an extension called Web ChatGPT. It's all one word, no spaces, WEBCHAT GPT. If you type that into the Google Chrome web store, there's an extension that you can download for free that will give ChatGPT access to the internet. So now when you open up ChatGPT on your Chrome browser, you have a little toggle at the bottom that says turn on web access. So you turn on web access, and then what you do is you ask it, ChatGPT, as of today, give me a full summary of the current market in Dallas, Texas. Give me the current mortgage interest rates for Dallas, Texas. Give me the current inventory data for Dallas, Texas. You ask it whatever you want. It searches the web before it gives you the result, gives you an entire summary of today's market data, and then you write your blog, and then you create your email, and then, because ChatGPT references everything in that conversation, so literally now it's going to reference everything it just researched to create content that's today. And that's a huge, huge thing for agents, because they were like, man, I don't know what to do. It's only been trained up until September 2021. So that's a good tip.
So does it internalize that and retain that knowledge and share it with the rest of the users?
It doesn't share it with the rest of the users,
Okay.
because essentially you could train it incorrect information. You could tell it, hey, 2 + 2 is 7. And then if it shared it with other users, then other users would be getting incorrect data.
Okay.
But it does retain that information in that thread, that conversation. If you start a new chat, it's going to not remember any of that information. But if you ever wanted to go back to that, it has a history on the left-hand side. You click on that chat, it still remembers that information because it's that same thread. Yeah.
Mind-blowing.
So what I tell, I'll give you another tip, since, we're here, we're giving away free tips. Another way that agents can really use it in a different way is, let's say you just did that and you trained it on today's data for your market, right? It knows the current data, it knows the interest rates, it knows everything, inventory. Then you say, all right, ChatGPT, based on that data that you just gave me from today, I want you to create me a buyer persona or a seller persona for someone in my market for this specific price range. I want you to list out a full persona, demographics, potential fears, potential dreams, potential, what's their job, everything. And I want you to list out potential pain points that this customer could run into, some issues that they may run into in buying this home in this price point, in this market, in this current market area right now. It'll list you some pain points based on all of that data, and then you create an ad addressing and solving the problems of the pain point of the target audience you're trying to acquire. That's different from, hey, ChatGPT, write me an email, right?
Oh my
and those are the
gosh.
ways that I want real estate agents to use ChatGPT. It's way different, right?
That's incredible insight. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, use it as a problem-solving tool from the beginning. Yeah.
Exactly.
That is amazing. So there's obviously, if you have a 12-week program, there's much, much more to this.
Sure.
Tell us a little bit about your program and how it works.
Yeah, so we decided to launch, thanks to Albie Stasek, actually. He's the one, yes.
What's up, Albie?
What's up, Albie? He had a meeting with me, and he said, look, I heard about your product. Show me what you got, right? So I showed him, and he said, Phil, this is incredible. Are you coaching on this? Are you doing an academy? I said, well, no, I just have this product. And he was like, why are you not teaching this? I was like, I don't know, I'm not a coach. He goes, no, you're a coach. You created this product, teach people how to use it. Because that buyer persona that I just told you, it's in the pack. You just copy it and paste it in. And there's little brackets, and you just put in your city, you put in your price point, and it's done. There's little variables that you change for your specific market, but all of the prompts are written out, they're done. He's like, you need to teach this. Mm-hmm. So we launched a 12-week, it's called the AI Agent Academy, and it is weekly sessions where we teach you how to utilize AI tools, not just ChatGPT, but other tools as well, for real estate specifically, right? So today we just did a session on how to create the perfect property description using current data. So some plugins and some extensions that people didn't know were available to extract data, get really good property descriptions. There's even a tool that will clone your voice. So you actually upload 10 to 30 minutes of audio or video of you speaking. It takes about 24 hours, but it generates a voice that's going to be your voice, to where whatever you type or paste in, you hit play, your voice is reading what you just pasted in.
Oh my gosh.
Crazy, right? So there's a lot of those tools that are very interesting that you can use. Now, you would think, okay, how would a real estate agent use that, right? Well, let's think about it. If you create an amazing listing description with ChatGPT with accurate data, right? You paste that in, and then now you hit play and it's your voice reading the property description. Well, what if you were to overlay that audio with a slideshow of the photography from your listing? What do you have that you did nothing for? You literally have a listing video.
Right.
And you didn't write the description, you didn't record the description, it's your voice reading it, you didn't take the photos, and your client's like, man, I didn't even know they were going to do that as an extra piece on social media, right?
So can you cheat? Can I get the audio book of Green Lights or Matthew McConaughey's book and play that into ChatGPT and then have Matthew do my property read my property description?
Absolutely can. I don't know how legal that would be.
Yeah.
But you could definitely.
Is his voice copywritten? I don't know.
I have no idea. Yeah, it might be. Certain people are, but there are tools, like in these tools, you can switch between different people and have them have their voice do something. It's very interesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, who would have thought, right?
Right.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
That is. I know Harley Davidson trademarked the sound that their engines make.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah, because the other manufacturers have been trying to copy them for a long time. That's wild. That is wild. So your coaching program that you do is 12 weeks, and you meet once a week. Do people have assignments in between coaching sessions? What's the kind of the cadence of what you do with them?
Yeah, so I've given them homework. So for an example, one of the weeks we go through all the plugins and extensions that are available, and I'll highlight some, and I'll say, all right, your homework this week is to download 3 and play around with them and tell us which one's your favorite. We've got a whole community on Facebook, so anyone who's in the academy is in the Facebook Academy or Facebook group, and they're able to ask questions or talk with other people in the group. And we've got, I think we're at 350 people in the academy right now, so it's a good group of people, and they can ask questions, bounce ideas off of one another, or say, hey, I've just found this AI tool. Stuff is changing so fast with AI.
Yeah.
You have to stay on top of it. And that's why I tell these people, I'm like, man, get in the right rooms with the right people who have done all of this research for you so that you don't have to research 1,000 different tools like I did.
Right.
I'll give you the top 10 and say, don't even pay attention to the other 990. It's a waste of time.
Yes.
So it's condensing time for them,
Sure. That's what a good coaching program does. Yeah,
Right.
it saves you from hitting your head against the wall and holds the flashlight where you need to go. Yeah, that's wow, that's outstanding. And so, is it a certification or it's just a coaching program? Have you got a certification yet?
I don't do certifications.
Okay.
I want to coach people and train them how to use it to grow their business. It might be something that we look at in the future. I just don't want to go at it from an angle of you're buying this to buy a badge. I want to go at it from you're going to buy this to actually learn information and change your business.
Right.
And so I don't want that to be a shiny object. And so I haven't done it yet, but we might look at doing that in the future. And if we did, we would probably add some type of exam or test at the end so that it wasn't like, hey, you're going to pay this money and you're going to get this certification stamp, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Wow, I'm just blown away here by I can't wait for our training. We're going to go 2 to 5 down on the mat with you.
3 hours is a lot of AI, man. Your mind.
I know. That's what I said. It will be artificial intelligence when I get done with it. Yeah. So just to shift gears here just a little bit, because there's so many interesting facets to you, and I kind of want to touch on all of them just in the little bit of time that we have left. But you recently created a TikTok video that went viral. And it was something that you hadn't planned on making, but you actually got into what's the tally now on the number of views that you have on this?
Last time I checked it just on TikTok, and it's been in so many different platforms, but just my TikTok video is over 60 million.
60 million.
Yeah. And that was probably a week ago that I checked.
Now, what is TikTok like the other ones? Do things monetize when they get that many views?
Cliff, they do, but I didn't turn my monetization on until after the video. I was like, oh, I guess I should have turned on monetization. So I did not make a penny from the video, but I would have made a lot probably from that.
Really? Yeah. Oh my God! You didn't want to talk about that.
No, that's a sore spot.
Let's rip the Band-Aid off here. Yeah. So, but that's a good nugget for our viewers. You never know when you're going to have that one that goes viral.
Turn that one on.
Yeah. So we do have a video of it, but before we cut to the video, set this up for us a little bit and tell us about the circumstances and how this all developed.
So through all of this AI stuff. Recently, I have been asked to travel to a lot of different places to present, right? So I'm constantly flying from state to state. One of those events was in Oklahoma City. It was actually for our buddy John Kitchens.
Oh, yes.
At his event that he throws. And so he had his event, and he said, hey, would you mind flying in and doing your AI presentation for our group? And I said, yeah, I'd be honored. I mean, John's a guy who's really helped me in the last year just develop, myself and my business as well. And so anything I can do to pay it forward, 100% would love to do that. And so we get done with the event, and next morning I'm flying home. The flight was supposed to depart Oklahoma City Airport at 6:20 in the morning. It got delayed. I believe it was 7 total delays. It would keep getting pushed back a couple hours. So
was it the weather? What happened?
I asked them what was going on because there wasn't any weather in Oklahoma City. The plane was apparently undergoing maintenance in Nashville. And for some reason, it took them 18 hours to get the plane from Nashville to Oklahoma City, and it just kept going on. So it got delayed 2 hours before I was even out of security. So I knew, okay, I've got a couple extra hours now. So when you get out of security at the Oklahoma City Airport, the Starbucks is right there. Now, I'm a coffee guy. I love coffee. I love Starbucks. And I was like, okay, I've got a couple hours. I'm not going to go sit at the gate. I'm going to get a coffee. I'm going to sit in the nice seating area, and I'm going to get some work done. Well, then it gets delayed another 2 hours and another 2 hours. So I ended up sitting at that location, Cliff, for 18 hours, getting work done. I never once went to my gate. And so it's about 11:30 p.m. I did check a couple times to see, hey, is there another flight I can get? But all the flights that they could get me to, it would have routed me through Dallas, actually, and it would have gotten me home the next morning. And I had an early work meeting at work that I was going to try and make sure I was at. So I said, okay, well, let me just stick it out. Let me see if I can get home at 3 a.m. and drive, and make my meeting at 9. And so I'm sitting there for 18 hours. It's about 11:30 p.m. now, and there's nobody in the gates around me. I mean, it was a ghost town in there. And I thought, okay, this is kind of odd, but whatever. I'm just going to continue working, And an airport employee comes up to me. They're like, "You're the Charlotte flight, aren't you?" And I was like, "Yeah." She was like, "The plane finally got here, so you might want to go ahead and head to your gate." And I was like, "Oh, great. Awesome." So I slowly finish what I'm doing. I'm prepping stuff for the next academy, pack up my stuff, walk to the other end of the airport, which is where my gate was. I walk to the gate. Nobody's there. It's just one gate agent at the desk. And I look over at her and I was like, "Did you guys already board? Like, am I the last one?" And she said, "Honey, you're the only one left." And I looked at her, I was like, "Are you serious?" She said, "Yeah, you're the only person on this flight. Everyone else gave up." And that's the moment that I realized that I was the only passenger. And so at that moment, I started documenting everything on my phone because I was like, man, if this is a TikTok video, this is definitely a good story. And so I just started shooting the story and said, "Hey, look, I just got to my gate. I'm the only one here." They had so much fun with it, man. They announced overhead through the whole airport, "Phil Stringer, your private flight is ready to leave," because it was just me.
Oh yeah. My gosh! Wow, we gotta dive into that. Travis, do we have that up? Can we roll that? Here we are. Let's see. Can we hear? Let's see. When you buy every single ticket on the plane, so you don't have to deal with people. Love this.
Person on the plane, and they have an entire flight crew. They do not want to do this flight. And loaded all the bags on the plane. How many bags you have to load today, bro?
Passenger Charlie will be leaving in 10 minutes.
They pulled them from the hotel to come do this flight for just one person.
Small personal handheld devices like tablets, cell phones, and smartwatches all need to be placed in airplane mode at this time, sir.
Insert the memo and press the button.
Sorry. I'm focusing. Yes. Wait, how do I take my seatbelt off?
Gosh, yeah. Wow. So you made the whole flight, only person on the plane, and I take it you got upgraded to first class.
First class. First class. So it's funny because you heard me say in the video, they pulled them from their hotel. So that crew got pulled from their hotel to do that flight. So they walk in, and I'm the jerk sitting there, the only one at the gate, and they're like, "Really? Like, what on earth? Why are we doing this flight for one person? Why didn't we cancel this flight?" Right?
Yeah.
And so immediately they just start like throwing jabs at me just for fun. And the male flight attendant was like, "You don't get any drinks or snacks. You're sitting at the back in a middle seat," And I just went right back at him. I was like, "Oh yeah, let me see how many times I can hit that call light button in one flight." Just joking.
Right.
And so there was immediately this rapport between the crew and I. And we kind of just decided as a group, we said, look, I didn't want to sit there for 18 hours. It wasn't the best situation for me. You didn't want to get pulled in from your hotel room to do a flight for one person. I get it. It's a bad situation. But like anything in life, I believe that your perspective really changes your direction, right? Your attitude changes your direction. So if we can have a good attitude and turn this into just a fun event, we can literally shift our focus and turn this into something positive rather than negative. And all of us as a unit were just like, hey, let's have fun. So we played games, we talked, we laughed, we drank together, ate together. It was just fun. We had a great time. We ended up exchanging phone numbers. So we have a text group thread with all 5 of us. And actually they're based in Dallas. So tonight after our event, we're going to go to dinner, whatnot. but I'm going to meet up with some of the crew and we're going to have a couple drinks and say hi. So
Oh man, that is a story.
Did you say they're based in Dallas?
yeah, they're based from Dallas.
The flight attendants?
Yep, because it's American Airlines.
Sure,
and
sure.
So,
Yeah. So you guys were on that flight. What was that, about a 2-hour flight from?
Yeah, it was about, I think it was an hour 45.
Hour
Wasn't bad.
45. Yeah. And I take it when you finally got to Charlotte, it was pretty quiet at that airport, huh?
This is hilarious. So a ton of comments in that video said, man, wouldn't it be funny if they lost the only bag on the plane? They lost the only bag on the plane. I got to Charlotte, and it took, now they ended up finding it, but it took probably a good 45 minutes for them to find my bag. I literally, it was like 3:30 in the morning, and I'm sitting there for 45 minutes. I'm like, I'm tired. I just want to go home. And so I did a video, like a little follow-up video, and I was like, well, they lost my bag. So they actually really did lose the only bag on the flight, which is kind of hilarious.
Now, how many views did you get on the subsequent video then?
I have no idea. I think there's over 1 million on that one.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
that is amazing. So you don't have an Apple AirTag in your bag?
I don't, but I need to because I have one in my backpack.
Yeah.
I don't know why I don't have one in my actual.
Suitcase.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
smart.
I don't know, but is it because they want you to, you're supposed to turn your cell phone on airplane mode, right? But those
Right.
things still send out a signal. I heard somewhere
I think it's Bluetooth though.
Is it Bluetooth?
Yeah, I don't
so it's
think
okay.
it's cellular. I think it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, that is really wild, incredible. And so 66 million views.
60 million. Yeah.
60 million. 60
Crazy.
million.
Yeah.
That is insane. Have you had anything else in social media that ever came close to that?
No, I had one Chat GPT video that I think had 4 or 5 million, and it's still going on Instagram, where I was speaking at EXP's shareholder, and I said basically what I just told you about the buyer persona.
Yes.
I was like, what if you were to get those pain points and then do an ad solving those problems? And that video exploded, but nothing near 60 million. And I knew that video would go viral, but I was thinking like maybe 1 million views because I thought this is a really interesting story. Normally you hear negative airline,
Sure. Yeah,
stories. This is
Yeah.
a positive one. It's lighthearted. We had fun. So I was like, this is probably going to resonate with some people, but I had no idea it would resonate at that level.
Obviously, you didn't. Otherwise, you'd have had the monetization
Exactly.
turned on.
Hey,
right.
Shut up, Cliff.
Oh my gosh! Yeah. C3, is there anything that you can think of that we haven't asked Phil that we should?
When's your next audition for The Voice?
So it's funny because I have been reached. The Voice has reached out to me a couple times asking if I wanted to audition again. But with everything going on with real estate and AI, it's exploded so much.
Yeah.
That I just don't think I would have time to necessarily.
Well,
do that.
just in the few minutes we have left, give us a little bit of an inside look at what it's like to audition for The Voice.
I mean, so I only made it to, I think it was the top 80 by the time I had to bow out. But it was probably 2.5 to 3 months long just to get to that point. So I was told there were over 100,000 auditions for our season, and it starts off online. You submit videos online, and then you do FaceTime stuff, and it goes through this whole process of several different stages. And so it was an interesting experience for sure, but with the way that real estate and AI has been treating me, I think I'll have to stick with this for a little bit.
So what was it? Did you lose a dare bet or something, or what prompted you
to actually start The Voice?
Yeah.
A friend signed me up. I didn't even sign myself up. A friend had signed me up, and I was driving to a funeral when the actual time for my audition came up, because it was a FaceTime audition. And I remember it popping up on my phone, and I was like, shoot, I forgot about this thing because my friend signed me up for it. I pulled over on the side of the road and sang my audition via FaceTime. And I'm sitting there like in a full suit because I was going to a funeral. And I was like, well, I guess I didn't, that's probably a no for that one. But they ended up contacting me back. So
And so the audience doesn't know the song that you sang. And did you continue to use that song, or did you do several different?
So I did several different. Yeah,
Okay.
I only used that one once, but it's funny because everyone that asks me about it, they always ask, okay, what was your audition song? What was your audition song? And I started just telling people, okay, guess, because nobody can ever guess that song. Like, you would never guess. So it's fun to see what people think maybe I would have selected, and they're
Right.
always way wrong.
Right,
Way off.
Way off.
Yeah, they're thinking Merle Haggard or
Right.
something like that.
Or some
yeah.
country.
Yeah.
Exactly. So you guys were in Cabo, right?
Yes.
This
I
year?
was not, no.
Oh, you weren't.
I was.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
You were. I remember seeing you there. In Cabo, we're in the pool. And again, someone's like, hey, I heard you were on The Voice. What was your audition song? And it happens all the time. And I was like, guess. And I was like, you only get one guess. I was like, but I'll give you $1,000 if you guess, because nobody has ever guessed. They did not ask me any follow-up questions. They didn't say, is it a male singer, female, what era, nothing. They guessed the song.
They
Yes.
had to have gotten tipped.
Maybe, but they didn't know me before. And I was like, legitimately, did you know? Because they freaked out when I told them that it was yes. You could tell. Like, they were not expecting to be right, but they picked a random song and they ended up guessing it. They're the only person who has ever guessed it or even come close, right?
Wow.
So the song, for everyone, is Paula Abdul's Straight Up. So again, nobody would ever think that would be the song.
No, they're thinking now, the audience is thinking that you said it's a male Paula Abdul singing it,
Exactly, right.
But you sing it falsetto or?
Yeah, and you know, I changed it. So
Okay.
I made it my own, and I think that's why the producers appreciated it.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't just your normal canned, I had my own spin on it.
Okay. So we have 30 seconds.
I don't think so.
No?
I don't think this is the setting. I think they'll need to book a call with me maybe.
Yeah? Oh, man. You need a little truth serum in you to get that out?
I need
Yeah.
a little bit more drinks.
So Phil, if anybody wanted to learn about your 12-week program or learn more about AI or whatever you're doing with AI, or even just in real estate running the team that you do in North Carolina, how could somebody get in touch with you or find out more information about what
sure.
you got going on?
Yeah, so Instagram is probably my most active social media platform, and it's super simple. It's just at Phil Stringer, so first and last name. I also offer a free download for people wanting to know what are the best tools to use for real estate with AI. And so there's a free PDF download, and you can go to AI Tools PDF. So it's AITOOLS PDF.com. And you can get that free download, and you can also connect with me there as well. So I would say Instagram, and then grab your free tool, and you can start getting going in the whole AI world. It will absolutely change the game for you.
Right. And singing lessons, same
Singing
place?
lessons, same place, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. Oh, my gosh. Wow. What a treat to have you in Dallas in the studio talking AI with us today, Phil. Thank you so much
Thank you.
for being here. I know we got to hop into the studio down the hall
Yeah.
here.
I do feel
for
left
training.
out because of the jackets here. I mean, that
Yeah.
jacket is so on fire, man. That's perfect.
I appreciate it. I knew I had to. I had to wear something to compete with the fire at the other end of the desk here, man.
I love it.
So yeah, but thank you very much. Wow. With that, I guess, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be a wrap here for us for another edition of Cliff's Notes. What a State Fair Blue Ribbon Hall of Fame show this has been. And we will see you next week. If you'd like to know how maybe you could attend some of our trainings that we do, DM me. Phil obviously is traveling and going to be around town. Follow him, stay around. But AI is where you need to be looking, because that's where the future is going to be for many of us who are going to be at the top. And so with that said, we'll see you either at the top or from the top on Cliff's Notes.